For 11 months, 17-year-old Ethan Cross had not opened his eyes. The son of Rear Admiral Daniel Cross, a decorated Navy SEAL commander, lay beneath white hospital sheets while machines breathed, measured, and warned. Doctors called his condition a persistent vegetative state. His father called it temporary. Everyone else had stopped using the word hope. Then a new nurse walked into room 417. Her name was Mara Vance, and on her first morning at Harborview Military Medical Center, she was assigned the patient nobody believed could recover. "Don't get attached," Dr. Keller told her. "We've tried everything appropriate." Mara nodded quietly. A senior nurse whispered, "She's fresh from a rural hospital. Give her 2 weeks." Another laughed. "Maybe she can sing to him." Mara heard them. She said nothing. She entered Ethan's room, checked his monitors, adjusted his blanket, and noticed something nobody had mentioned. His right hand was clenched, not randomly. His thumb rested against his index finger, creating a tiny pressure point. Mara stared at it for several seconds. Then she asked, "Who taught him military breathing?" Admiral Cross, standing beside the window, turned sharply. "What did you say?" Mara looked at Ethan. His hand position. The breathing rhythm. "That's not a reflex pattern I'd ignore." Dr. Keller stepped closer. "Nurse, he has severe neurological damage." "I understand. You are not his neurologist." "No, sir." "Then don't speculate." Mara lowered her eyes. "Yes, doctor." Before leaving, Mara leaned toward Ethan. "If you can hear me, Captain, I'm going to ask you for something simple." She tapped 2 fingers against the bed rail. Tap, tap, pause, tap. Ethan's monitor changed, just once. A tiny spike. Mara froze. Dr. Keller frowned. "Artifact," she repeated it. Tap, tap, pause, tap. Another spike. Admiral Cross stepped forward. "Do it again." Mara did. The monitor jumped. For the first time in 11 months, Ethan had responded to something. Hope entered the room. But Dr. Keller warned everyone not to celebrate. It could be coincidence. Mara whispered, "It isn't." The next morning, she began a sensory protocol based on military conditioning techniques used to help operators regulate breathing and respond under stress. She never claimed it was a cure. She believed Ethan might recognize patterns his injured brain understood. Every morning, she tapped the same rhythm. Tap, tap, pause, tap. Then she spoke. "Breathe in 4, hold 4, out 4. Nothing happened. Day 2, nothing. Day 3, Ethan's heart rate changed. Day 4, his fingers moved. Even Dr. Keller stopped dismissing her. Then, on the 6th morning, Ethan opened his eyes. Admiral Cross dropped into the chair beside him. "Ethan." His son stared at the ceiling. Mara smiled through tears. But Ethan suddenly began gasping. The oxygen alarm screamed. His body stiffened. "Code blue," someone shouted. Doctors rushed in. His airway was closing. Mara noticed something terrifying. Ethan was not simply choking. He was reacting to a memory. His fingers began forming the same military signal. Tap, tap, pause, tap. Mara understood. Everybody stopped talking. The room went quiet. She leaned close. "Ethan, listen to me. You're safe. You're home." His eyes moved toward her. Then he whispered something barely audible. "Red door." Admiral Cross went pale. "What did he say?" Mara looked at him. "Red door." The Admiral stepped back. There was no red door. Mara saw fear in his face. "Sir, what happened to your son?" He hesitated. Then the monitors began screaming again. Ethan's blood pressure crashed. The team started treatment, but Mara noticed a strange pattern. Every time the alarm sounded, Ethan squeezed his fingers 3 times. She remembered his military conditioning. 3 squeezes meant danger. She looked at the Admiral. Was Ethan deployed before his accident? "Less. We're." He swallowed. "Classified." Amara's expression hardened. "Then someone needs to tell me what he saw." The Admiral finally broke. 16 months ago, Ethan was attached to a covert recovery team. Their helicopter went down. Officially, he was the only survivor. Amara stared at him. "Officially." The Admiral's eyes filled with shame. "We were ordered to say that." Before Mara could respond, Ethan suddenly spoke again. 4, alive." Everyone froze. 4 alive. The Admiral grabbed the bedrail. "That's impossible." Ethan's eyes closed. Mara told the doctors, "He's trying to report something." A military security officer entered the room minutes later. "Admiral, we need privacy." Mara stepped aside. But Ethan opened his eyes again and whispered one final phrase. "Red door, hospital." The security officer immediately reached for his radio. Fear spread through Mara. Someone inside the hospital might be connected to Ethan's memories. And then the lights went out. Emergency generators failed. Doors locked automatically. From the hallway came running footsteps. A man shouted, "Nobody leaves this floor." Mara looked at Ethan. His monitor was flat. She screamed, "Ethan." Then his eyes opened. He pointed toward the ceiling. Mara followed his finger and noticed a maintenance panel slightly open. Inside was a blinking red light. The red door wasn't a door. It was a code. Mara remembered her military training, something she had never told anyone. She had once served as a combat medic attached to a special operations unit. She understood Ethan's signal. Everyone down. A gunshot shattered the hallway glass. Mara moved instantly, pulling Ethan's bed away while the security officer returned fire. Admiral Cross stared at her. "You were military?" Mara nodded. "Combat medic. Special operations." The officer shouted, "We have 3 intruders." Mara looked at Ethan. "You knew they were coming." His eyes filled with tears. "I remembered." The attack ended within minutes. Security arrested 3 men wearing hospital uniforms. But the greatest revelation came afterward. The Admiral discovered Ethan had been targeted because he had survived the crash and remembered 4 teammates who had never died. They had been secretly rescued, then hidden after uncovering a trafficking operation inside a military contractor. Ethan's brain had protected him until he found a safe way to communicate. Mara's rhythm had unlocked that pathway. Months later, Ethan walked into the hospital cafeteria using a cane. Every nurse stood when he entered. Dr. Keller approached first. "I owe you an apology." Mara smiled. "You owe Ethan one." The doctor turned to him. "I was wrong." Ethan looked at Mara. She listened. Those 2 words broke the room. Admiral Cross hugged his son, finally letting himself cry in public. Mara watched from a distance until Ethan called her over. "You saved me." She shook her head. "No. You fought your way back." Ethan smiled. "And you reminded me how." Years later, people would remember the medical breakthrough, the classified investigation, and the 3 arrests. But Mara remembered something simpler. A young man everyone had called unreachable had never been gone. He had been waiting for someone to speak a language his wounded mind still understood. Sometimes heroes do not arrive with sirens. Sometimes they walk quietly into a hospital room, notice one trembling hand and refuse to look away. And sometimes the person everyone has given up on is the very person who was still fighting hardest to come home. If this story moved you, subscribe for more unforgettable stories of courage, sacrifice, and hope. Because sometimes, one person's faith is enough to bring another person back from the darkness.